I just noticed that I didn't realize how much I lived for others before and how that has evolved. I live for me. Yeah. Do I bring am I mindful of others? Yes. Because I'm an empath? Yes.
Right.
Very much so. But I would say 20 years ago, I wasn't living for me at all.
Yeah.
With 3 kids and a husband, and I was on the back burner, and I wish I wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
But I don't look at that either.
Right.
That it is what it is. That was a season of life. I'm in a new season. And some days I think, oh, it's all about me. Why am I like this? This isn't right, but it should be. It is all about me. It is me.
Hello, and welcome back to the F.E.E.L Podcast today. I'm with a friend that has been a friend of mine for a while. She was with us a couple of seasons ago. Teresa Vesneske is back. It was time to bring her back because her story continues to unfold. And it's such a great example. I think as women, sometimes we will make these changes, we'll get into these new seasons, and then we kind of just like, well, I've made all those changes, and so I'm done making changes. And we sometimes get comfortable instead of continuing to stay curious. Yes, you made those evolutions, you made those choices for yourself. Those are great. But wait, there might be more. And that's good too. And so staying curious, and Teresa is a perfect example of someone who continues to stay curious. And that's mine for her. But for her character traits, she came back with dedicated, adventurous, and empathetic. And I think those are just spot on for her. Teresa Vesneske, welcome back to the F.E.E.L Podcast.
Hi, Melissa. Thank you for having me again.
Oh,
I'm excited to be here.
It is. And it's important to note she's principal of Vesneske now. The last time we talked to her, she was teaching. And so there's been a lot of, like I said, that's to hint to some of the moves and changes she's seen since we last had her here a couple years ago. But let's get right back into it and talk to me about, since the last time we talked, you were just kind of coming off of several shifts, finishing your degree, becoming a teacher, making some really important health decisions for yourself, a major surgery, therapy. I mean, really unpacking a lot of stuff that you had put on the back burner for years. You've had a couple years now since then to continue to live this out and watch this unfold and see what this looks like for you and feels like for you on a daily basis. So what have you learned about your self-care since we talked the last time?
I've learned that you can't neglect it. It needs to be continual, and it's easy to put it on the back burner.
Yeah.
It's really easy to put it on the back burner, especially those of us that have really chaotic, busy lives. And sometimes we put things in our lives to be chaotic, to put that on the back burner too, because it's easy to not play with that piece of our life.
Yeah.
So I just think that it's so important, whatever self-care looks like for you, because it looks different for everybody. I went through a period where therapy was the important piece of my puzzle. Right now, it's not the important piece, although I walk every day with a licensed therapist and I feel like she's my therapist sometimes. I think friends can do that piece of the puzzle at times too. I've moved to a new community, kind of. That's a whole nother piece of my puzzle, where I've met really good friends that fill that piece of my self-care. I still have to take care of my health. I had that major surgery where I lost a ton of weight and I don't want that back. So that was when I made this move a year ago. That was one of my big vows to myself, was that I wouldn't become sedentary. I wouldn't gain that weight. And my mental goal was, I'm going to wear the same pants on the last day of school that I wore on the first day of school. And I did. So that was, and I wasn't very like, I mean, when I first had that surgery, it was counting calories and weighing food and you know, it was very regimented, and I wasn't this year. And it's okay. It's okay. And did I have some ups and downs? I sure did, but it's okay. And I'm 55, and is my body starting to fall apart? Yes, it is. And can we change? You know, am I running a 5K anymore? No, because my knee won't do it. So, but can I get up and walk in the morning, or can I swim now that it's summer and the pool's open? Yes. So we just have to find those things that we can still do in that movement exercise department. And then we have to do those things that make us happy. I have a group of people in town that I've met that I call us the Bad News Bears. It's just a real eclectic group of people. And I've moved to a town of 300 people. So very small, very isolated. One business in town is open past 5 o'clock at night, and it happens to be a drinking establishment that also serves food. You don't have to have an alcoholic beverage when you go in there. I'm known as Tater because I like tater tots. And they make them there. And we get together one night a week and we just sit around this round table. So it's called Round Table Night. And we just learn about each other and learn about what's going on in the world.
Wow.
And it's my self-care. And it's great. It's a great time, and I prioritize it. I tell people no to other things because that's important to me.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great example and really goes nicely into confidently setting boundaries. You've made this a priority. Other things are not going to move it out of the way. You know this is important for you. You really get your energy from relationships, from people. That's very much a key component of you. And so I'm not surprised at all that you have moved to a town of 300 people and found your people in less than a year. That's who you are. You draw people to you, but you also are mindful of now, I think more so than ever, about who you surround yourself with. And you I'd love that you addressed the not measuring and weighing every single thing. I think it's really easy, especially I think for women, to get caught up in this restriction mindset. And it's like we can move and feel our bodies in a way that's healthy for us without a restriction mindset, because the restriction mindset is what creates a really unhealthy relationship with food for us. And you've had to work through that part already. So I'm sure I'm like, I don't need to go back to that unhealthy relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. And a school is not an environment to have a healthy relationship with food. A school is a horrible place and I have, and my boss, he is a wonderful gentleman. I have a boss. I did not know this, the superintendent, when I hired, he's a 1 day a week guy. And he's 76 and he's a donut guy and a donut, cookies, muffins, whatever guy. And, it's hard to say no. And it's hard to walk by them 32 times. And so, I have a donut every once in a while. And I know it. But like I said, the pants still fit. The pants still fit. And just, everything, is this healthy for me? Is this, but it's okay if it's not once in a while too.
Sure. Exactly. Because it's healthy for you can become a very unhealthy question if you're not, because your whole life, see, this is such a great example of one, knowing the boundaries that you need to have in your life. I'm going to fit in these pants. I'm going to make time for these people. But also you understand the impact of the mental, emotional, physical health ramifications when you go down a road that start asking yourself too much, because too much of a good thing becomes a bad thing. And that can, and you are holistically applying your health. You're moving your body every day. You're surrounding yourself with people that you connect with. You've put mindful time around okay, going to fit in these pants and that, and whatever, what that looks like for me. You have taken this new job that felt like your next right thing to do. Talk to me about that decision and this evolution, because it required you are never afraid to live out of your own expectations versus others. That's always been true of you. And this was probably another one of those choices, but it's also another example of how you show up unapologetically as yourself. But before we jump ahead to that, talk to me next about what you've noticed in your growth with that mental, emotional, physical health since you have started this new season.
I just noticed that I didn't realize how much I lived for others before and how that has evolved. I live for me. Yeah. Do I bring am I mindful of others? Yes. Because I'm an empath? Yes.
Right.
Very much so. But I would say 20 years ago, I wasn't living for me at all.
Yeah.
With 3 kids and a husband, and I was on the back burner. And I wish I wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
But I don't look at that either.
Right.
That it is what it is. That was a season of life. I'm in a new season. And some days I think, oh, it's all about me. Why am I like this? This isn't right, but it should be. It is all about me. It is me.
Yeah.
But yet I am mindful of others, and I am still my empathetic. I still am my, my love language, or whatever they call it, is I'm a gift giver. Like you said, relationships with others is my thing. It's, that's my thing. I love to get to know people and hear their stories. And that's why a town of 300 is perfect for me. A school of next year, I'll be in the mid 60s, preschool through 12th grade. And that's a perfect size because I get to know each and every kid and each and every family. And that's just where I always wanted to be. Yeah. And make an impact.
Yeah. 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 And I think that's such an important piece too, I think realizing that you're no longer abandoning yourself. And now, because you're taking the time to prioritize you and fill your cup, you're giving from an outflow, an overflow, instead of abandoning yourself to have enough energy to give to others. But this outflow and overflow is not only healthy for you, others are getting the healthiest version of you.
Yeah, I think that's 100%. I have plenty to give.
Yeah.
I take care of me first, make sure that that's taken care of. And then I have that to give to others. And, kids are my jam.
They are.
And what's incredible in this environment is not only do I get kids, because I have less kids in my school here than I had in my classroom in my last assignment.
Yeah.
And so I get to know their families, and I get to know their grandparents, and I get to know, and it's just such an amazing environment to get to have an impact on the entire system.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted. And that's why I went that direction.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that it really could happen, I guess. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk to me about the unfolding of that, because I remember, it was about a year ago that you made this announcement, and I was like, oh my gosh, look at her just continue to fly. But also oh wow, she's leaving this space that I know is really important to her. I mean, you have these 2 communities that have been such a critical part of your life. It was funny. You were in one community, you went to the rival school community.
I did.
But they're not very far apart.
No.
But then you made this, and your impact was felt there in all the ways. Kids are drawn to you. You are an empath. You are a listener. But you also hold them accountable. You have this great balance of allowing them to be seen, known, and heard, but not letting them off the hook on what their piece and part of the equation is and how they show up in the world. So you have that gift already. So you being a principal to me is an absolutely natural fit, but also I think the last time we talked, maybe not necessarily something you saw coming.
No, I think, 2020 happened. We had time on our hands a little bit as educators, as far as like continuing education.
Sure.
And we know as educators, our pay scale goes up as we get degrees.
Sure.
So yeah, did I want a master's degree? Yeah, I needed a master's degree. So let's get it in something that I might be able to use later in life.
Sure.
Well, who knows how late, but later in life. So, let's get an admin degree. Why not? So I did it for a while, and then we were back in school. And so I kind of put it on the back burner for a little bit. And then I picked it back up again, and I'm like, I'm going to finish this. And we got a new administrator in the elementary school in Reardon who I really liked. And I liked, she and I were quite similar in mindset. And I just asked her, I said, hey, can I do my internship with you? Because we vibed. Yeah. And, I don't know how else to say that. And she's like, yeah. And the district approved. And so I did an internship with her, not even thinking that I was in the realm of leaving Reardon at all.
Yeah.
And then in the spring, after I had done some of the work, I kept seeing the bigger impact I could have on kids. Let's just look and see what's out there,
Yeah.
And a couple of neighboring districts had some openings. So I applied and I was really good at being number two, really good at being number two, because I didn't have any experience.
Sure.
I mean, that was a bottom line, and I really hadn't been a teacher very long.
Yeah.
And really my resume, if you looked at it without knowing me, you would probably throw it away. I mean, I really hadn't been in the working realm that long.
Yeah.
Because I'd gone from para to teacher to pretty quickly,
right,
after having kids. And then, things unfolded at the end of the school year in Reardon. There were some changes being made. And I don't know if I would say I was unhappy, but I wasn't on the same page as the changes being made. And I said, I'm going to apply for a few more jobs. And I pulled up the website with the job links, and I see this little town of La Crosse. And I had some background knowledge just because my kid's high school volleyball coach was from there. And I knew, and they had a really good volleyball team back in the day. So I knew of the place a little bit. And so I just emailed, hey, is this position still open? And the number of connections that I had to this place is just, it's the weirdest thing ever. It's just meant to be kind of thing. Yeah. So the next week I was at a conference, and the superintendent was there, and the superintendent from Davenport was there, and his wife had actually worked here.
Oh, wow.
One of his kids had graduated from here. And so he connected the two of us. I had taught kids in Reardon whose mom and dad were from here. There were just
all these farm
connections.
Communities have so many connections.
Exactly. And so next thing I know, I'm interviewing, and next thing I know, the superintendent's calling me. Can you come down on I think it was the 7th of July and get approved as our new principal?
Wow.
And I'm telling Ken, my husband, I'm going to move 90 miles away, at least during the week, and take this new job. And we'll see what happens. And it's just an amazing choice that I made in life. And, and it's not the end.
Right.
And that's, it's not the end. And it's a great place. Like I said, 60 some, last year I had 75 kids. I had 11 kids graduate, which 11 was a huge class. Next year I'll have 4.
Wow.
I get to know each and every kid. Yeah. Each and every family, each and every teacher. I have a mix of teachers on the cusp of retirement and young teachers. And so I get to be an impact on these young teachers too.
Sure. Oh, what a great mentor. Yeah.
Oh, and that's what I really wanted to do with this. Guide young teachers. And I get to do both. I get kids too, so
Yeah.
It's just the perfect place.
Yeah. It really meets all those scenarios. So this goes nicely into showing up unapologetically for yourself, which then also enables you to support others in showing unapologetically, because by simply sharing your story and what you've learned and what you knew 15, 20, 25 years ago and what you know now is such a great story and example for these kids, for these teachers to hear and learn from. I mean, so, and because this just feels like, one of those things of like, it might not make sense to everybody, but it totally makes sense for me. And I think it speaks to Ken too. Ken knows you. Ken knows what fuels you and feeds you. And so if you say you're going to do something, Ken's like, not getting in the way of that. I'm just going to get ran over if I do. So,
Exactly.
But he understands that and supports that about you too. I mean, I think there's so many pieces of that are important in this puzzle, but this was a decision that was like, this is the net. You saw the ability to tap into all those things that are strengths that light you up. That's another form of self-care. That's another form of taking care of you. And so now you're not only able to do this and talk about your story, but able to really empower others to do that as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important that if you, it was my dream.
Yeah.
So why am I not following that? You gotta, there's nothing we can't do.
Right.
I mean, we limit ourselves and talk ourselves out of it. I know that I talked myself out of things for years. So I can do it, and I am doing it, and I'm going to go further. I just got accepted into WSU's superintendent's program.
Oh, so, I love
that. I'm going further.
Yeah.
And Ken, hey, Ken, I'm going to apply for the superintendent's program. And he said, what took you so long? And so who knows, and he's on the cusp of retirement, and he comes and sits on my back porch here and loves watching the quail walk by. And, I see that in 5 years. I don't see me going anywhere soon.
Sure.
I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
There was some power that brought me here. And he loves it here. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere.
You are. You're in the mid, but it's a beautiful spot in the Palouse. For people that have never been to the Palouse, my husband grew up in the Palouse. The Palouse Hills are an area of Eastern Washington, primarily wheat farms, other things too, but rolling hills and a topography really like I've been literally to 48 out of 50 states. And there are very few, if any, places that look like this part of the state of Washington. And it's very different from what other people think when they think of the state of Washington, but also very beautiful in its own way. I mean, there's nothing like a spring day when the Palouse, when the wheat is green and the wind is kind of lightly flowing over and the sun's out and there's like these waves over these rolling hills. The only thing I could think of is that's what Ireland looks like all the time in so many spots. And I've been to Ireland, so I get like, my mother-in-law used to talk about that all the time when she would visit. She loved the spring and the rainy time in the Palouse because it reminded her, and that was her homeland.
Oh, yes. I've learned a lot about how it rains out here. And I'm 90 minutes from where I used to live, and it's different.
It is different.
It's different, and it's we're kind of on the edge. I would say we're on the edge of the Palouse. Channeled scablands. They talk about that. We have a lot of basalt. Not far from Palouse Falls, which is a gorgeous natural waterfall that I remember taking my niece out there, and she goes, "Well, where's the mountain that the waterfall's coming off of?"
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't, Becca. It falls into the ground.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What?" Well, you got to see it. But I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere, but we're a half an hour from everything.
Yes. Yeah. You can get to Spokane. I mean, you'll fly into Spokane when you go there and you're going to be there in and less than an hour and a half. I mean, it's, from place to place. So, but it's very peaceful.
Yes.
Also, like it is, I mean, it's very peaceful, very tranquil. So that has those pieces and components of it. But I just love, I wanted to bring that up because you found these places that feed your soul. Like these aren't just jobs for you. These are things that feed your soul. And I think it's really important to realize that, yes, you can make those decisions for yourself in your 50s, ladies. These aren't, if you haven't made those decisions up till now, it's not too late. You can still do that. And so you have done that so beautifully, and you have aligned your work with your why and your values. Talk to me about that evolution and how it feels to be so aligned with your why and your values in how you're able to show up in the world now.
I mean, I joke with my kids. They're my kids. All the kids are my kids.
Yes, they are.
I mean, I still go back to Reardon, and they're my kids.
Yeah.
I went to graduation, and they're all running out of the stands hugging me.
Yeah.
I just want them to be good people, because the joke with them is, you're going to be good. You're going to give me good care when you put me in the home, and that's what we need. Is we just need good people in our world. And that's my goal, is that I'm raising good people.
Yeah.
And kids are my thing. They've always been my thing.
Mm-hmm.
They need people.
Yeah.
A lot of them need people in their life to show them what being good people is.
Yeah. And that they have it in them.
Yeah. I mean, the kids aren't born naughty. They aren't born in a direction that we don't want them to take.
Yeah.
They learn all that. And can we show them a different way, or give them a different light in the world?
Yeah.
I think we can. And so can we show that to all of them? Yes. Yeah. And can we give them hope? Yes. And maybe it takes them 20 years to, send you a note and say, hey, remember when I was in the 5th grade and you got mad at me for not doing my math? Or I have a kid that always, and I think he's in his 30s now. He's got to be in his 30s. And he still reminds me about the day that I was there at 6 a.m. to make sure he had his math paper done before he got on the bus to go somewhere. Because I told him if it wasn't done, he wasn't going to get to go.
Yeah.
And that was a life lesson that he learned. And I bet he's a better employee because of it.
Sure. Absolutely. And it's those little things that make an impact.
Yeah. And we can give kids grace, and we need to give kids grace, because they're kids too. In the end, they're kids. It doesn't matter if they're in my preschool class or if they're seniors, they're still kids. But we also need to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And show them that you have to be accountable in the world as well.
Yeah.
So,
but I would say, because you love them so well, because they feel seen, known, and heard, that you asking them to be accountable feels like something caring, not like something that's just coming down on them, or or a part of their identity. You're bad. Like, no, it's like you made a bad decision. You made a bad choice, but you yourself are not bad. And I believe in you, and I see what you're capable of. So I'm going to challenge you to reach what I know you can do. But you enter that in a way where you build a trust, you build a bond. You've had that gift the whole time I've known you, and beyond that. When did you realize that this was a value of yours, that this was a why? What do you think motivated that?
Gosh, I don't know when I realized it. I think it was just a natural thing. I mean, I taught swimming lessons when I was in junior high.
Yeah.
And parents would request me. And I don't know. It's just always been my thing. From vacation Bible school to whatever. Just that connection piece. And I think that's even with kids, adults, it's just that connection piece, meeting people where they're at, understanding. one of my friends here and I talk a lot about perspective, and that
Mm.
everybody has their own perspective on the world,
Yeah.
and respecting everyone else's perspective.
Yeah.
And if we did that, it would be amazing. It's not that we're all that different. It's just that we see things differently. I think about, like when you're learning your first art lessons and you're drawing with perspective and you see the tree straight on, or you see it from the side and everything looks different. Or even like when I'm golfing, I address the ball from the front and this is where I want to stand. But then when I'm standing is beside the ball, it doesn't look like I'm hitting it the right direction. It's all about perspective in the world.
Yeah.
And I need to listen to a kid's perspective. Like, as a principal, yes, I deal with discipline, and whether it be teacher student, whether it be adult parent student, whether it be parent teacher, I bring all the parties to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I say, and I know I have one teacher that he laughs every time I say it because he hears it all the time. We all have a different perspective, and reality is probably somewhere in the middle of all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to hear your perspective, and your perspective, and then we'll talk about what the reality probably was.
Yeah.
And that's how I address that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, this is where I was meant to be. And I'm not sure how I navigated being here. And I'm doing the superintendent's program because small schools are not, I'm hoping they won't go away.
Yeah.
But the reality is they're not going to have 2 administrators. They're going to have 1.
Wow.
And I need to learn, principal is all student centered.
Yeah.
Superintendent learns the financial and the capital and the projects and all that piece of it. So I need to learn that. And I'm a lifelong learner. So I need to learn something else.
Yeah.
And who knows where that'll take me next. I already have that, watching that State Board of Education stuff. Where can I make an impact there? Because these small schools need it.
They need a voice. Yeah, absolutely. And when you can go in and have not only your background history in them, but then you bring that other knowledge along with it, that can make you a very powerful, necessary voice in that room. Yeah, so much. And just more of you living and following and trusting your gifts and your why and how you show up in the world. And this really allows you to live out of your own expectations versus others' expectations. But even in that, it can be hard sometimes because you and I were talking before, and principals have to make hard decisions about, and we are in a world right now where budgets for education are at an all-time challenge at every level, from the smallest school in Eastern Washington to the most prestigious university and everywhere in between. And so, and my husband has talked about a lot over the years. He's like, if everybody likes you all the time, then you're probably not doing something right, because somebody has to make the hard decisions.
Yeah.
And so this is a new part of the role for you that you haven't had to do before. So talk to me about navigating expectations, still staying true to your own, but not, but learning to navigate, not allowing those voices that might not like those things or or you in the moment as that's happening, because that can really derail you because you are such an empath and you care so much about people.
I will say that was probably my one, the hardest part of my year was towards the end of the year. And I felt like I let those voices take over. And, but I see that now. And I know that I shouldn't have. And I learned from that. And it's okay to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. As long as we learn from them and try not to do that again. I had to make some decisions and I didn't make them myself. I made them with the other people that were in the decision-making process. And there were people unhappy about the decisions that were made. And I let them be a stronger voice than myself. And I let it get to me. And I wasn't me for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you hit something important. When you haven't navigated something before, all you can do is the best you can do in the moment. And you can't see what's coming, but sometimes we are so hard on ourselves. We're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I let that get to me. I know better. Well, do you know better? I mean, you haven't been down this road before. No. So how could you have known better? I mean, someone else can give you their insight on it, but you haven't walked it out. You haven't experienced it. So replacing that language with exactly what you said. I've had some time to reflect. I see now what I've learned, how it impacted me, and that's going to inform how I move forward when these things come up in the future. And having that language, continuing to be curious, but giving yourself grace when you have those moments.
Yeah. And not only how it impacted me, but how it impacted others, because I wasn't me.
Yeah.
That's the piece that, that's really important to me because of that empathetic piece.
Right.
With this position, I am guiding these other people. And so if I'm not the positive influence that I should be, they don't see it. If I'm not the light when they come into the building, darkness prevails. And so it's really important that I keep that light shining.
Yeah.
And we can have disagreements. Like I said, we can have different perspectives.
Sure.
But right now I get to be the boss and make the decisions, I guess.
Yeah. But you're always a good listener. And I think you said something too. Being the light requires you do what you need to do to fill your soul so you can be the light. And so it goes back to that piece of not abandoning ourselves and not letting others' expectations derail what we know is right, because you've learned the importance of trusting you and listening to you and following you. But that doesn't mean other things aren't going to come up. They're going to challenge that in a new way. I mean, so which goes nicely into accepting the layered aspects of ourselves. You continue to unfold and learn about new layers. And this is another layer that you had to look at, acknowledge, and don't love the way that impacted me, but also I learned something there, and I'm going to be curious rather than judgmental with myself and how I process this layer and understand it and move forward within it. But you've had a whole layers journey piece for all of these things that have evolved over the last 5 years that you've really had to learn about and come to acknowledgement without that shame and judgment. Talk to me about how that continues to unfold for you.
Oh, that's a big one. You just, in the end, you just have to be true to yourself. And, people try to put you down, and you can't let them, you can't, because you have to be true to yourself. Can't tell you how many times this year I have heard, well, she's new. Well, she doesn't get it. Well, she doesn't know. And, my gift in the educational realm is I know a little bit about a lot of things. I don't know a lot about anything yet. Yet. But I'm learning a lot about a lot of those things. But I know a little, I'm enough to be dangerous in a lot of things. And I'm curious, and that's a big thing. A joke with one of the guys in command at the ESD, the body that's bigger than us. Yeah. In the school, is that I win the prize this year for the most questions asked. And I'm not afraid to, your job is this. So answer this question for me, Oh, the office of the superintendent of public instruction. I have the numbers of 5 people there. This is this department. This is this department. Here's your department. This is my question. Answer it for me,
Yeah.
And that's how I've navigated my whole year here.
Mm-hmm.
And once a week I get, well, what about your marriage?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Kim's fine.
Yeah.
We talk every day. He asks me how I'm doing, we went to see the grandkids last weekend. He still does stupid stuff and I joke with him about it. And we go on trips together and we don't go on trips together. He's going with the kids somewhere this summer and I'm going to Europe this summer without him. So, we do our things. It works. 35 years isn't going to go down the toilet because I moved 90 miles away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and especially because you know each other so well. Going back to what I said earlier, you know each other so well. You know what drives each other. You know what he knows what supports you. But I think too, I want to come back to the importance of not being afraid to ask questions. There is no such thing. I will say this, and there's probably a few exceptions in the world, but I'm still going to stand by this. There's no such thing as a stupid question if it, because so many times we're afraid. I read this great article this morning. It was about something entirely different, but the point of it was you don't have to know everything. When you don't know everything, you don't need to pretend you know everything. Go ask the questions, be a good listener, be curious, and learn from people who do know about that thing. And that's exactly but what a great thing to teach the people you're mentoring, the teachers, the kids that are in the school. Like, this is a valuable thing. And I think especially for girls and women to know. And you've raised 3 strong girls. I've raised 3 strong girls. And a lot of this was about, don't be afraid to have a voice in the room. Know that you deserve to be seen, known, and heard, and don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't let someone else's resistance of your questions deter you from what you know is important for you to do to proceed. I think it's a really valuable lesson.
I would wholeheartedly agree with that, Melissa. Totally. I'm a question asker.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I know a little bit about a lot, because I listen. Do I digest everything I hear or read? No, but I have bits and pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can say, oh, I know I've heard about that before. Let me look back in my notes, or let me ask the person I know I talked to that about.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important that piece of, I don't know what the word is I want, but I don't know everything.
Yeah.
That vulnerability piece. I don't know everything.
Yeah.
But I know where I can go to find it, or I know somebody I can ask that knows where to go to find it. Like, I have these 2 gals that are at the ESD, and they have been so wonderful for me this year, because I can say, I need to talk to somebody about blank.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, that's so-and-so at so-and-so,
Mm-hmm.
and that is, and that was just a resource that I couldn't have lived without. And it's because of the relationship I've built with them.
Yeah.
That I have. And, I meet people. I met somebody the other day that we've had an email relationship since I was in Davenport.
Oh, wow.
And for years, we've
Mm-hmm.
emailed about various things. And their name came up in a meeting, and I'm like, oh, you. We've emailed for years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the funniest thing, because we'd never met each other.
Wow.
And
well, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just that staying curious and knowing that you don't know, nobody knows everything.
Right.
And don't portray yourself as knowing even an expert doesn't know everything. They still are learning about things.
Yeah. Because when you pretend you don't know, you know everything, and then you go to make decisions and you have been asked the questions, that doesn't lead down a good road many times, so being mindful of that as well. But I think, I want to also go back to the fact that you went into these small towns, these farm communities are very tight-knit communities. There are family names that have been there for decades. It's not easy to break into these spaces and places. But you understand that. So you being willing to go in, be the new person, know there's going to be the whispering on the street. Oh, she's new. I mean, that's just part of navigating these spaces and them learning to trust you. Because also when you go in as an outsider in these new spaces, there's a lot of questions. Why are they here? All these kinds of things. So being curious, asking questions, being open, listening to perspectives, being a good listener, welcoming the point of view, not just shutting them out and coming in like you know everything, is a very vital component of becoming a trusted member of this school and this community.
Yeah. And communities and schools in this small of a location are intertwined.
Absolutely.
That's what it is. And, my biggest piece of the puzzle this year has been the community engagement. Mm-hmm. And it was a little bit broken when I came. And that was my first, my biggest piece of my puzzle was to make sure that was mended or on the way to be mended. Mm-hmm. And I worked really hard at that. And there are wonderful people with differing perspectives.
Sure.
And to get them to work together, and they have, and there's just so many wonderful people in this community that want what's best for our kids in the end. Mm-hmm. And we just have to remember that just reminding them that people have differing perspectives.
Yeah.
We have our big town celebration, not this weekend, but the following weekend. It's called Farmers Fest.
Yeah.
And they're going to honor the educators this year. So my superintendent and I get to be on the float.
Oh, wow. That's a big deal in these towns.
Yeah, we get to be on the float, and then I'm in the dunk tank later in the day.
So, of course you are. Oh my gosh. You'll be most fun with
that. But the community, it's just, there were a couple of new hires along with myself, and they have a similar mindset to me and get the small community piece.
Yeah.
And one of mine is a brand new teacher too. And she has filled my bucket and I've filled hers. And it's just, it's like I've had a daughter.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think also what I want to point out is when you're learning how to navigate these things, you can also apply this when you go into a long established corporation that's been, that's a family owned, maybe been there for years. You go in as a new leader. And this is something that you can teach those kids and those teachers and mentor them on now, because maybe someday they'll be in that situation where they get that opportunity to remind them to go in, be curious, know what you know, be comfortable in the decisions you make, own them, but continue to invite perspective, be inclusive, engage, just let them know that you want to hear from them. At the end of the day, you're going to make your decision, but they're never going to question that you didn't give everybody an opportunity and a chance to be heard, even if they disagree with you later, which actually, it's like, you know what? They gave me an opportunity. They saw it differently, but I know I was heard. And that people can live with that a lot easier than if they feel like they're just being mowed over. So this not only goes for communities, but anytime you go into a company or a situation or even a family situation, whatever it is, this lesson can be applied across the board.
Oh, I agree. I think tradition is any of those situations. Tradition is the big part of that. And so coming in, feeling out and figuring out what is the tradition, what are the big pieces that you cannot change.
Sure.
But what are the pieces that you or that you want to magnify because they are rich tradition? Yeah. And then how can you enhance them by adding to them? And giving our kids, it would be easy to stay out here and not see the rest of the world. So how do you give them that perspective as well, but still keep the tradition of being here alive as well?
Yeah, I think that's such an important piece, because I think sometimes, because you love travel and it fills your soul, but you also know the value of that small community and letting them know and modeling both things can be true. You can go out and travel and see the world and learn so much from that, and also come back and it will make you a better community member when you come back here because of the perspectives you learn. If you leave here, it doesn't mean you're abandoning your community. You can go out and travel and learn and live in different spaces and places and come back and be even a more informed member of this community.
Exactly. And I talked to my upperclassmen because I know that culture was a big thing.
Sure.
And I know that they were seniors and juniors, and I'm not going to establish a new culture with them. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So my big thing with them was, what's the legacy you want to leave? You know, what are people going to say about the class of 2025 or the class of 2026? What is your legacy that you want to leave? Because they're going to know. I mean, if you go down to that establishment downtown and talk about the class of 1942, they can tell you who was in it and what they did. So what is your legacy going to be? And then I take that to my staff. Okay, somebody who's close to retirement. You've been here for 25, 30 years. What is the legacy you're going to leave?
And that's a great way to energize, because teachers at that point can be very tired and be very much watching the calendar for retirement day and be a little bit or a lot checked out. So it's a great energizer too, of bringing them back home to that to help them to stay focused as they finish out. Those are great examples. Another thing I want to add to this layers piece, I know we've lingered here a long time, but you've had so much to say about it. One last thing on the layers piece. Does it feel like all those years as a parapro in the school, operating that way, as a parent, as a coach, all these layers that are, somewhat not the normal path of getting to principal and superintendent possibly down the road, but also you got to kind of operate at every level. And so I think I would imagine it brings a unique perspective that can be very helpful too, to bringing all those layers together into this new layer you're in.
It gives me a relatability to everybody.
Sure.
That a lot of people don't have.
Sure.
And I think that helps me as an employer. Like I can sit down with my para-educators and talk to them about things because I've been there. Sure. And I think they have a different respect for me because I have been there.
Right.
And I think that adds to that. I know a lot about, I know a little bit about a lot because, we're talking about some things the other day that typical principal teacher wouldn't know, but I served as a district secretary for a while.
Yeah.
So I was in that realm with the lawyers and a building project and I lived in that and I knew a little bit about, and I don't think there are many people that have held as many hats as I have.
Yeah.
And I think it does give a really unique perspective to things.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to keep going. And what can I give because of that perspective?
Sure.
Because I think we have so many people making decisions that don't have enough perspectives and don't listen to all the perspectives.
Yeah. 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 You can be that voice in the room that says, hold on a minute. Have we talked to this one? Have we gotten that insight? We need that insight to make an informed decision about X. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can hardly wait to see what you do with this.
And it takes everybody. It doesn't matter what your title is, what your education is, it doesn't matter. It takes all those pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah. 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 And that's your recognition of that, because you not only embrace your own layers, you embrace other people's layers too. And because of your understanding and living in these different realms and different spaces and places. And I think that's a really unique thing to be able to do, because it's invitational. It makes people feel seen, known, and heard. You don't have a higher or lower value for anyone in there. It's all valuable, and they feel that from you.
Well, and we don't, everybody has value.
Yeah.
It's different, but
Yeah.
there isn't a hierarchy. We're all human.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all have value. We all have worth in the world.
Yeah.
We just all do something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a knack of making people feel that, though. Not everybody has that ability, but I think that's what part of your layers journey that makes you thrive in these situations. So thank you so much for all of that. So good. All right. In Living Out Feel, finding empowerment, embracing layers, which is what you are doing and continuing to do, talk to me about how that's impacted your relationship with yourself as well as your relationship with other people.
Oh. Gosh, that's the one I don't have any notes in that question at all. I don't know. I just think that's where my continuous lifelong learning. I mean, I'm not going to quit.
Yeah.
I know there are more layers. Where are they? You know, what's the next layer we're going to peel back? Or what's the next layer I'm going to create? You know, there's both directions, you know?
Sure.
The sky's the limit, Melissa. I don't know where this road's going to take me, but it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And it might curve. It might dead end. It might, you know, who knows, but it sure is a fun ride right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, Ken keeps saying that retire word, and I keep laughing at him. I said, I'm not retiring. I mean, I don't even see that in the future ever. I can't imagine my life without kids in it, and not just my grandkids, like everybody's kids. Yeah. I see myself as that 90-year-old lady in the rocking chair reading to kindergartners, you know, I'm going to be that person.
Yeah.
But, you know, in my relationships, I'm just one of those people like you and I mean, we can go years without talking, and it's like we've talked to each other yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, we catch up for 10 minutes and we'll talk to each other again in 2 years. I have other friends. I have friends all over the United States, just from whether they've moved or I've moved or whatever that realm might be. Kids, you know, I know kids living somewhere, I'll give them a call. You know, that's one thing that's been nice about mobile phones is that people keep that phone number.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll shoot a text. Is this still your number? Let's go have coffee. And, you know, might be Atlanta, might be Houston, might be wherever I am in the world. I met up with somebody in London 2 years ago, you know, you just never know.
Yeah.
And, but that's, I like to feed that. That feeds me.
Yeah.
And I have to feed me.
Yeah, absolutely. So good. Oh my gosh. All right. 5 activities that nourish you.
Oh, and the reason I need the bigger paycheck, giving gifts. Yeah, I would be a really good philanthropist. Actually, I probably wouldn't, because I'd give away too much. But yeah, I enjoy giving gifts, whether that be just, and it might be a simple card,
sure,
or it might be a legitimate gift, but that really feeds me. Kids nourish me. Any realm of kids, whether it be, you know, I have an ex-student that's incarcerated right now, and just a communication with him nourishes me to know that he's okay. Yeah. I've had some kids that with mentally unstable, troubled childhoods, and knowing they're okay. Yeah. And then kids that are very successful, not that isn't successful as well. We're all human. It's perspective.
Right. Yeah.
But just that communication, you know, I'll see that somebody's having a birthday, you know, and just a simple happy birthday to the 35-year-old student is, you know, and I get something back from them, just feeds my soul. My friends, I mean, people in general, you know, my lifelong friends that I'm still in contact with. I mean, my friend from kindergarten that we grew up together, every once in a while, she'll shoot me a text, or And I'm guilty. I don't get back right away. I have her phone number at my desk. I put it off because I was so busy and I need to send her a text and I haven't. And, we grew up from preschool actually together and, I need to connect with her. And just anything with my family.
Yeah.
They don't always get along and we can't always all be together in the same room, but bits and pieces I can do. And it's great. Just went on a trip, the end of May with my brother and sister and all of that family. And, that's always just nourishes my soul.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. 5 words on how you want to feel the next 6 months.
Ooh. Happy, always. And I do a pretty good job of that. I thought I wrote these down, but I didn't. Look at that. I want to have direction. I don't know what the word is I want for that, but I want to have direction.
Yeah.
Confidence. Adventure. I am leaving in 2 weeks for Europe. And, I don't know what else goes with happy, but, just being full, that feel that I just want my bucket to be full, Melissa, because that feels good.
Yeah.
It does. It just feels good.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Well, and you're such a good bucket filler for other people. So you filling your bucket is such an important component of that. I love that you've highlighted that. Oh, so thankful for you. Let people know how they can find you, follow you, all those things. And and that'll be on our resources page on the website as well. But where can people find you and follow you?
Oh, I'm on all the socials. I'm going to start a new principal TikTok now that I'm a year in. I've decided that that's going to be my goal for next year.
That's going to be fun.
Actually, yesterday was like the day I sent the email about this job. So I figure I'm a year in that I can start my principal TikTok. I am a TikTok junkie. I will admit to that. I scroll every morning. That's my cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I'm a Facebook, Instagram. I still have Reardon Science, but I'm everywhere.
Yeah. All right.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Any last thoughts for our listeners today?
Just go out and be the light you can be in the world. And remember that everybody has a different perspective on what that is.
Yeah. And be curious about that perspective.
Be curious and know that you can keep learning. Nobody knows everything about anything.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. All right, listeners, there's your takeaway for this week. Thanks so much for joining me, my friend. I so appreciate you. And listeners, so much to take from this today. I know that there's going to be opportunities for you to go back and take notes, but just know these takeaways are so important. We can all do them. These are all things that we can do and how we can make an impact in our little space in the world. And that's Teresa has modeled that so beautifully. She is known across Eastern Washington as Mama V far and wide. So don't miss those ways and places that you can make an impact. Take good care and have a great week. We'll see you next time here on the F.E.E.L Podcast. Hello, and thank you so much for being with us today on this episode of the F.E.E.L Podcast. If you would like more information on how you can apply these talking points that I share with our guests in each episode to your own life, really utilize this F.E.E.L framework, go to embracinglayers.com, fill out our contact form, and let's set up a free 30-minute consultation to talk about how you can start living your most authentic, organic, healthy, F.E.E.L-fueled life. Thanks again for being with us today. We'll be back to you soon with another episode here on the F.E.E.L Podcast.